Here I took the FJ off-roading in Yankee Springs, and I just left the pavement starting the ride I took for the weekend. Enjoy. Here I was just passing a few people's property on my way in. Found a few other vehicles out on the trails for the weekend. It was a pretty good time. There's some pretty nice trucks out there, and didn't get too crazy, but I did find a couple of nice little mud holes to get through. A lot of the stuff out here is sand, so there's not a whole lot of clay or anything where it's going to get too slippery, but all in all, it was a pretty smooth trip. I only used four-wheel drive once I got to the mud holes that you'll see later on. I stopped here trying to get my bearings on the Rambler app. That's RAMBLR app. Just trying to see if I was on the trail that I initially wanted to start following. And I think I lost signal at this point on my cell phone, but my GPS unit on my dash was still working, so I decided to kind of keep moving and see where it took me. Here's where I passed one of the trucks on the trail. There's a lot of the ones to either side that are kind of closed off, but you can still kind of get all over the place back here in these trails. I went through here a month ago or so after a lot of the rains, and it was pretty nice because there were some pretty neat little puddles you could splash through. So if you wanted to throw some water around, you could definitely do that. As you can tell, a lot of stock vehicles can make it back through here. There were some sections that would have been a little iffy if you were in a two-wheel drive vehicle, but only if you were hanging real low. Otherwise, if you had some decent ground clearance, you could pretty much get through everywhere I went through in this. I think I started this little trek at about, I don't know, maybe 10 after 11 in the morning on a Sunday. Here is the section. I took a phone call from the wife. She needed to get into work, and so she gave me a call here, so I figured I'd just mute the volume. I'm sure you guys didn't care to hear our conversation. It wasn't anything spectacular. But yeah, the plan is to kind of do this on a regular basis and hopefully get out with a few friends and see if I can get some other guys that want to go out and explore the trails in southern Michigan. You can see here, this is one of the sections that probably the DNR or some landowner blocked off. There's still a bunch of public hunting areas back in there, and you can still walk through there and probably ride horseback. Just they closed it off for vehicles, maybe because it was just getting bad with traffic and holes and stuff. But other than that, you can still get around back in here. This is a short section. It ends up going to a residential area that's pretty short. The noise I got going on in the background is a dual band radio I just installed in the truck. It's going to be helpful if I ever get out with a bunch of guys and they all have radio equipment. We can all kind of talk to each other vehicle to vehicle. But it's going off pretty regular. There's a little area off to the side here where you can see there's a big mud hole guys probably go through or pull off and check equipment and make sure the vehicles are all right or whatever. But it's interesting. I've gone through it once or twice in four-wheel drive. It's nothing treacherous, just kind of a fun little mud hole. Down at the end is down here, it starts to get into a residential area, which ends until you cross a paved road, and then you can get back into the trail. So I'll probably just skip past that. But good time. There's a lot of people out walking the trails too, so it was a nice and warm day, about 38 degrees thereabouts for a December day. It was funny going past that FedEx truck. It actually had looked like mud terrain tires on it, so he's probably designated to deliver in this area often. And this just pretty much goes on for a little while. It's not nothing too serious, but eventually it rolls up to a asphalt road that I end up crossing. I'll skip ahead a little bit here, and then continue on.
Stroke or heart damage, even in a pandemic, when you need med COVID-19 or COVID symptoms, seek the care you need to stay healthy and safe. Connect with your doctor to schedule an appointment or procedure. For Mercy Health, I'm Lila Lazarus.
We make USAA insurance for busy moms like Kate. She's a better.
Ended up pulling over there for a minute just to get my GPS to find signal again, and then kept going. stuff off to the right there was just kind of a big turnaround. It looked like there used to be a trail that went through there and someone put a gate on it, maybe limiting you from getting onto private property.
Indeed, you do. The moment you sponsor a job on Indeed, you get a short list of quality candidates from our resume database. Indeed delivers 2.5 times more hires than the other branded job sites combined, according to Breezy HR 2019. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get a $75 credit for your first job post. Terms and conditions apply.
Hey, it's Tommy Carroll, and I got my son's first puppy. After going to several places, I wound up getting Potter, and so does my son, and they are going to have a blast growing up together. You know, a friend told me about Barking Boutique, and I said, where? And I checked out their website, went and met the dog. Not only was I impressed with the lab, but everyone I came in contact with were able to answer my questions, and trust me, I had a lot of them. I got the pup's medical records, breeder information, and they gave me the tools I needed to make the right decision. Barking Boutique cares so much about the health of the they will take care of the medications. That impressed me. If you're looking to add a new member to your family,
Today at msufcu.org/visa signature 97.9 GRD.
At this point, I was actually surprised I didn't see more little mud holes than I saw today. Last time I was through here, I could have swore there was quite a few little areas where you could hit some decent puddles and throw water all over the truck. Just wasn't that many today. Must have been either the ground soaked it up or it's just been dry just enough. The guy I pass up here in this blue Jeep, I ran into him a couple times on the trails, as you'll see. Pretty cool truck. It was nice to see a lot of people have kind of the same courtesy to get over the side and let you go by. I would have, but he was already parked, so he might have been doing what I've done and checking GPS and making sure he was where he was supposed to be or wanted to be. This guy must have been on quite the hike. I seen him a couple places in the trail. So he must live local around here. That'd be kind of nice in the summertime to go out and get some walking in nice, decent weather. I saw these puddles here, and I knew last time they were pretty deep, and this time they're deeper. I think they were they were probably over my rock sliders, and I got a 3-inch lift, and I'm running 33s on the FJ, so I figured it better to be safe than sorry and just go ahead and throw it in 4-wheel drive before I decided to get stuck in the middle of a hole. If I remember, this hole was actually a little bit deeper than the first one. Yep, sure was. And I figured, crisis averted, I could go ahead and throw her back in two-wheel drive for the rest of this, just so I didn't burn up some gas I didn't need to kill. Then after this, I came to an intersection and tried to pick the more roughest looking of travels and kind of continued on from there. I don't know the area very well, if at all, so I decided to take a left and kind of see where that ended me up. A lot of cool little swamps and farmhouses to either side of the road there, so it was kind of a nice little drive either way. I ended up making it down the road here to the end, and I saw a cutoff, and it went to asphalt at one point, so I turned around and thought, oh, I found a new trail. Nope, just a turnaround. This is where I thought I found some new trail. Saw the little marker there. So I pulled in there, and I was like, ooh, this is pretty neat. I was wondering if it was someone's driveway at first till I saw that white sign there. And went back in here. It says Berry County State Game Area or Forest Area. So I was like, all right, maybe this is just another trail. No, it turns out it used to be a trail, and it goes back in here so far, and I ended up running into a Dodge parked at a bunch of deadfall where they'd block it off. It looked like everything further back than that would have been a little bit more fun. Sorry, meant Nissan Titan.
It's just a turnaround. Dang it.
We had a lot of nominations to read through. Thank you for sending those.
So I pretty much decided to head back the way I came, and maybe instead of where I turned left, going straight and seeing where that led me. I don't know if I went straight or took a right. We'll see up here. So I pulled out on here back on this main road, took the left, and decided to see where I think I picked up the trail again on the Rambler app. So I was going to follow a previous route that I'd taken just because I knew it'd get me back into some seasonal roads and two tracks. There went my trail. After a quick turnaround, I ended up just coming right back to it and then just drove through it. I don't think I had been on this one yet today, so I was kind of exploring this one again for the first time today. This one went on for quite a bit, nothing real exciting. But all in all, it was still a pretty good time. The trails are pretty well, I don't know if they're groomed or maintained, but they're still in really, really nice shape. So it's kind of nice to drive on these. You can find some rougher ones if you want the rougher ones, or you can find a lot of the really smooth stuff like this out here. Pretty much up here is what made me decide to go right. I ran across the older gentleman with the walking canes. I was like, all right, if he's already been in this direction, so was I, so let's see what goes this way. Up here, there was some nice off-camber stuff, so I decided to get a couple of pictures of the truck with its rear axle flexed a little bit. Turned out pretty neat. Up here I ran into some hunters off to the side of the road getting stuff out and getting ready. Too cold for my liking. No, thank you. Seem friendly enough though. Down here I came to a decision. It was either go left onto the asphalt or what I thought to be a left into a trail, and it ended up just being a turnaround, so I had to go left onto the asphalt. And then at this point, I was following the Rambler app, which ended up leading me I wasn't paying attention, right back the way I'd come in. So I kind of went down to this, remember that big hole I was talking about, guys go through 4x4, and I did it once or twice. So I went down here to the end and figured out where I was at, got my bearings, pulled up the Rambler app, got it to load, and then I ended up turning around and heading the direction I meant to go. Got up here around this corner, I was going to go around it, and I didn't realize there was kind of a severe drop off on either side. One went to the puddle, I guess not so severe, and then one went in that hole right there. So I was like, okay, we'll go on an angle. So I decided to turn around and see if I could find another little source of amusement, I guess, for some off-road stuff. And I think I ended up pretty much just finding some dirt roads. I don't know that I got back into any serious trail stuff, but we'll see. Remember that intersection? I recognized I'd been through here once before today, so now I figured it was time to try and find something a little different, because I pulled over there earlier to find a GPS signal or mess with my phone, and I was like, alright, we got to find something a little more adventurous. Then I got up here by this section, and I remembered the last time I pulled up here over this hill, I took a right. So I figured this time I'll just keep going straight and see where I come out. That was the right I took last time, so this time I figured I'd just go straight and see where I end up. I'd been on this once before, and I remembered last time it was full of huge puddles. As you can tell, they're all dried up now.
Could have dire repercussions. Mercy Health has many measures in place to ensure safety of patients and staff, like testing protocols, proper sanitation, and protective equipment. You are safe at Mercy Health. If you have symptoms of a heart attack or stroke, the advice is still the same. Call 911. Mercy Health. I'm Lana Lazarus.
So you're sitting in your car, and bang, there's an accident.
This is a pretty nice little section through here, just a bunch of nice little winding curves and some decent off-camera stuff. Nothing too serious, obviously, but still pretty fun. I think a little further up here I ended up running into that blue Jeep again, and he ended up going to a different direction, and I ended up going straight, so he must have been kind of following the same loop I was. anytime you're out here running on these trails and back roads, you always want to keep your headlights on. Make sure you go at a nice slow pace because you never know what might be coming around the corner. I know there was a section in here pretty quick where I ran into this gentleman on a pedal bike. So I made sure to give him enough room so he could get by and continue getting his exercise in, and I could keep putting along without forcing him into a dirt bank. I think here was that guy in the Jeep. He ended up cutting off to a side trail that I didn't realize was there. I thought I was going to have to get over for him, and he ended up taking a left for him. And I then continued on. I thought I was going to need to stop right here for him so he could get by me. I'm going to have to come out here, I think, once we've had some good heavy rains or snowfall, go back through some of this stuff with the GoPro and see if I can get some nice mud puddle splashes all over the truck. This is where I ran into the gentleman earlier, where I ended up taking a right because he was coming from the same way I'm coming from now. And I decided, all right, well, I've been that way. Let's see where this takes me going the opposite direction if I ran into anything fun. Coming up on asphalt again here, so if I remember right, I think I went straight just to see where it led me. This got pretty close to the end of my day. This was just cruising down a old dirt road, and it was pretty smooth and uneventful, but still a good time nonetheless. This was another event of I come to an intersection, didn't quite know which way to go, so I figured, man, let's turn right and kind of see where this leads us. I was hoping to get back into some off-camera 2-track, but for the most part it seemed like it just continued on a pretty decent and smooth dirt road. Came up to a pretty cool little narrow bridge up ahead here. Wasn't the newest bridge, but yeah, it's still pretty neat going over it. Something old, probably from back when nothing but farmers came through here years ago. There's a lot of hunters off to the one side of the road. Pretty cool to see some of the houses. There was chickens back there and hens and roosters and stuff. Anyway, sorry. Got up here a little further and ended up back on some asphalt. Thought it was pretty much closer to the city than I ended up being, but nope, still out in the boonies.